Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. So over the weekend, I said that the biggest focus right now is how stocks are looking into, the weekly open as well as throughout the week. And right now, I'm just going to be honest with you guys. The structure across the board is not looking good. Anyone that is saying that everything looks bullish right now is lying to you. I do think that at this current moment in time, the structure across the board is very weak and things are getting bearish. That's just facts. I'm not going to sit on, here and say, hey, guess what, guys? Everything looks very good and let me sugarcoat everything and make you guys feel better. No, we got to be realistic here. We're playing with money, and when we're playing with money, we got to be honest. And when we think about what's happening around this space right now, the market has been pretty bearish ever since we heard about the tariffs. For the last roughly 2 months, we've been bleeding heavily. And don't get me wrong, the market wasn't doing all that well before the tariffs because even Bitcoin, for example, hit a spike and hit a high. It was kind of like a double top, if you will, from the middle of December all the way to about the end of January. Now, this is when we actually hit the high in terms of an actual lick wick. So this was a liquidity wick up to about almost 110K. And right after this, it was shortly after this, we got the tariff announcements. Ever since the tariff announcements, we have been bleeding out continuously. Now, is it just crypto? No, it's also stocks. If we actually look at stocks today, over 1.75 trillion was wiped out from the US stock market today. Now, if you believe in the whole idea of buy when others are fearful, well, guess what? We are now in extreme fear. Everyone is concerned. Everyone is worried. So again, do what you want. I'm not going to advise to buy this right now because I do feel like we're kind of catching a falling knife, simply because we don't know when the tariff nonsense is going to end. And do I think that it's complete nonsense? Not exactly. I just think that it's a long game. So now talking about tariffs, the question is, when are we going to see the markets bounce back? Because if this is a long game, we can continue to see the markets bleed for weeks or even months. Which also, the question that we should be asking is, where is the bull run in that? If we're just going to bleed out for weeks and months, there really isn't an answer for when is the bull run going to happen. If we're going off of previous cycles, and if we're following the 4-year cycle, it should happen this year. But the question is, are the tariffs going to push that? And is it going to change the entire structure itself? Because remember, this market runs on liquidity. When we see liquidity getting taken from the market, and if we see things getting wiped out because of the tariff discussions, well, then all of a sudden, things dry up, which means markets top and markets sell off. That's just simple facts. That's how markets work. Liquidity is the main driver. That's the only reason why we actually have a 4-year cycle around crypto, because we follow the liquidity cycle. Across the board right now, we see sell-offs, 24-hour sell-offs, 7-day sell-offs. And even if we go over to the top gainers and losers in the last 30 days, in the top 100, we still see some nice gains. A lot of these projects, like for example, Story, just recently launched. Outside of that, minimal gains in the last 30 days. The last 30 days around crypto, let's just be real here, it's been extremely depressing. We could see the 40 plus losses across the board here. And it's something that also really kind of takes from sentiment. I mean, sentiment right now around the space, we're at 15 out of 100 for the CMC Altcoin Season Index. And if we look down at the list, again, this is over the last 3 months. I've been really kind of putting a focus on this in the previous videos because I just want to share with you guys how bearish this market actually is right now. Now, are we in a bear market? Well, I put out a post over on X, and it was actually this one. And I said that the structure across the board is extremely weak. Larry Fink shaking the markets with inflation predictions, which is this one over here, where it was actually talking about the Trump deportations. This will have severe impact on agriculture, construction, and basically what he said is this will lead to elevated inflation in the short term. He said about 6 to 9 months, I believe. within this. I might be wrong. Oh, yeah, here we go. I think that over the next 6 to 9 months, we're going to see a little more elevated inflation. So again, this did not help the markets, on top of course, more tariff discussions. Now, we could quickly cling to the idea that this is market manipulation. They're manipulating the markets. Now, do I think that there's a lot of market manipulation happening here? 100%. Somebody showed me the trading volume across the board, and if we look at Binance being number one with over $31 billion worth of 24-hour trading volume, a lot of people have been saying that Binance is manipulating the market. They're buying and selling a ton of Bitcoin. They're, manipulating Bitcoin's price. There's a lot within that we could say for certain is true, but there's also a lot that we could say is just speculation. I do think that the big wigs, aka Larry Fink and even Trump and all of these big billionaires, we have been seeing a lot of bearish news coming from a lot of prominent names like Larry Fink. It definitely does feel as if we are starting to see a lot of manipulation, and it feels like the fear is getting blown out of proportion. We'll have to watch and wait to see what happens throughout the week. But I also did say that Trump said he won't rule out a recession earlier today. Stocks plummeted and the total crypto market cap lost over $242 billion today alone. Over the last 30 days, the crypto market is down a total of $767.5 billion, roughly, while the S&P, the NASDAQ, and the Dow are back to levels we haven't seen since September. The fear is at all-time highs. We either pump to unfathomable highs from here or it's over. No in between. Now, again, there's a little bit more room for downside. I'm not taking that out of the equation here, but the big thing that I will say, and the question that I ask everyone out there is, do you think that we are in a bull or bear market? I mean, right now, if we're thinking that this is a bull market, I do not want to know what a bear market is. Am I still bullish on crypto? 100%. I think that the long-term game here around crypto is extremely bullish. But if we don't stop hearing about tariffs, we are not going to pump. All of this sell pressure, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Dow Jones, the total, all of this is because of the trade war. Here we actually have a breakdown from the Kobayashi letter, the interview that broke the internet. 24 hours ago, President Trump joined Fox News and acknowledged a recession may be coming. This marked a clear shift in sentiment today, with the S&P 500 now down $5 trillion in 13 trading days. Here's what exactly happened. By the way, here we have a beautiful chart of the S&P 500 going all the way back to the end of January. Again, here we have where the market around crypto, let's just go look at Bitcoin, right? And let's go to the charts. Here we have the 19th. Bitcoin looking beautiful here, having a little bit of a sell-off, nothing too crazy, still holding on. But this is right around where tariffs were announced. The trade war begins. Now, going into like the middle, towards the end of February, stock market peaks as tariffs ramp up. Again, Bitcoin's still holding on until the end of February, where we do continue to hear tariffs. Everything sells off. The tariff discussions are enough to keep the markets down. Because again, it scares the retail crowd. Impulsive sellers start to sell off. Nobody's buying when they think that the economy is going to crash because of tariffs. Again, everyone keeps saying the tariffs are bullish. They're bullish. They're bullish. They are bullish long term. Short term, they are not. They will cause economic collapses, which is why we now hear Trump saying, well, a recession may be coming. Because he also understands that if we're going to continue to announce tariffs, it causes a lot of problems in terms of trade, which also causes a lot of problems with what? Well, all of a sudden, the supply chain starts to slow down, just like 2020. We start to see, stocks crashing. I mean, listen, if we can't get chips, just take Taiwan for an example, one of the biggest chip manufacturers in the world. We can't get chips. the Mag 7 crashes, and all of a sudden, there goes the stocks. That's as simple as it is. All it takes is one big issue to arise around this trade war that slows down the supply chain, and we have a 2020 situation all over again. Now, we have down here that today's decline in technology stocks puts the NASDAQ 100 closer to a bear market than all-time highs. It's down 12.4% in 13 trading days in one of the fastest downturns since the March of 2020 crash. Technology stocks have gone from being loved to hate it within a matter of days. Again, this is why I say focus on the Mag 7. Because technology stocks also, causes, fearful levels to be at all-time highs. Why? Every single time that technology stocks crash, they front-run the market, we typically see a massive crash across the board. Because tech stocks are typically always the most bullish. They're the strongest ones. We think Microsoft immediately, Apple, Google. But also today's decline puts crypto down 1.3 trillion since its December 17th peak. Not only does this mean crypto's bear market has begun, which he's confirming it here, which I don't agree just yet. It's also down 35% in 3 months. The post-US Reserve announcement rally has been erased. Crypto is the #1 indicator of risk appetite now. So why did the decline accelerate today? We think markets are reacting to President Trump's willingness to weather an economic downturn to fix issues the US faces. Yesterday, he joined Fox News and said, look, we're going to have disruption, but we're okay with that. That's exactly what he said. There's a period of transition because what we're doing is very big. We've heard that term transition many times. In fact, the Fed, remember when the Fed said that inflation is transitory? That's what he said. Guess what? No, it's not. Inflation is here. Inflation is just what we see when we go to the store. We know inflation is not transitory. This clip from the interview reaffirmed the view that Trump is willing to weather a recession. When asked if he sees a recession this year, he responds, I would hate to predict something like that. He says, it will be great, but knows there will be short-term pain.
You inherited a mess, and you said that the other night.
I've only been here,
but are you expecting a recession this year?
I hate to predict things like that. There is a period of transition because what we're doing is very big. We're bringing wealth back to America. That's a big thing. And there are always periods of, it takes a little time. It takes a little time. But I think it should be great for us. I mean, I think it should be great. It's going to be great ultimately.
So again, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. But the question is when, right? He's saying a little bit of time. The problem here is that we don't really have much time before things get even worse. When it comes to stocks, when it comes to crypto, it's teetering on major support. Teetering on major, structure that needs to hold. That's why I said that it's either we pump from, these levels to unfathomable highs or it's over. Because, look at the Dow Jones for an example. We'll just take the Dow Jones on the weekly. Okay, we wicked below it slightly, but we closed right around major support on the weekly. We lose this, and at this current moment in time, right, we lose this level. Everyone will say, well, the next big level that we know we need to watch is down here around like 40K. No, we will most likely lose 40K from this level here. Because again, it will be a big signal that the entire structure has been broken. This is why the entire crypto market has also been extremely bloody. It's because it's bloody across the board. Nobody wants to put, they don't want to put their dollars into risky asset classes. They don't want to, risk their dollars at a time where it feels as if we're kind of, just leaning towards a recession. And here we have later in that interview, President Trump was asked about how he was historically viewed as the business president. Then he said that the market is not really down much and you can't really watch the stock market. We are building the foundation for the future, he says. So you can't really watch the stock market. We definitely can. And guess what? It's showing us what we need to know, which is risk on assets are no longer right now the big, appetite in question. People are starting to hodl dollars again. Gold has been key, right? It's been a big leading indicator. Beginning February, we saw the first shift away from the risk on trade. Gold markets were very telling well in advance of this recent downturn. Since December 1st, gold has risen 9+%, while Bitcoin has fallen 17%. Liquidity dried up. And exactly, that's what my whole point of this is. Liquidity is drying up because stocks are drying up. The risk appetite is drying up. And that's because of the tariff discussions. When we think about what's going on here, okay, we continue to see the tariffs being discussed every single time that they are talked about, which is why I've called the whole tariff discussion a big manipulative tactic around stocks, because guess what we hear? We hear about the tariffs. For example, the trade war began back in the end of January, right? From January to now, there has not been a confirmed move on tariffs. We hear about the tariffs and then we, round trip and say, oh, well, they're going to be delayed. We're going to delay them real quick. The biggest thing that I want you guys to take away from this video is that we are not in bear market territory just yet. I'm still very bullish on crypto. And when we think about what's happening here, it's extremely bloody. The total right now for crypto is down from the highs back in the December 16th, 17th candle, roughly around there. The total crypto market cap is down over $1.2 trillion, 33.43%. We lost the macro trend here if we're really kind of looking at this. The big concern is that the total is now back to the levels from March. This is what it really kind of looks like. We're just kind of hanging out around these levels here. This is make or break for the total, in my opinion. Unless we do something like March of 2020, which we don't want to see. I mean, let's just be honest here. We do not want to see a March of 2020 crash here, because this back here, after we lost a trend, which I have it up here as well. We lost a trend. We lost a trend back here as well. This crashed over 64, almost 65%. But you see the loss here, right? It was almost $200 billion. This was over 1.2, almost $1.3 trillion lost. A downtrend of 33.4%. If we lose 64.82%, okay, look at how low that would be on this chart. We're talking $1.3 trillion. This would be retesting the support from the summer of 2021. That's how disgusting that move would be. Now, just the sheer fact that I'm comparing this price action to March of 2020 should tell you exactly where the fearful levels are right now in this market and how bearish the charts actually do look. But if we're going off of historical data points, when the markets get extremely fearful, when things look like they're never ending, like the sell pressure is going to continue, we typically rally. And at this point, nobody thinks that we're going to be having a rally. Nobody thinks that the market is bullish. Nobody even is talking about crypto in a bullish way. So the question is, do we pump or is it over? I'm betting big on us pumping still. I'm going to be watching the market over the next couple of days. I'll keep you guys posted, obviously. I think what I want to do throughout this week, just to kind of analyze things, I will do a video similar to this every single day, just kind of addressing and analyzing what we see across the board for stocks, for the total, and just for crypto itself. But I will say this, the tariffs are hurting us in a huge way. This trade war has been hurting us in a huge way. Could we call it manipulation if it's out in the public like this? I guess we could. But the problem here is that I don't think that the tariff discussions are going to slow down anytime soon, which does cause some concern in the market, in my opinion. So with that being said, if you guys did enjoy this video, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys have more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.